Just want to go through the topics that we want to try to cover here today. And the whole genesis of this thing, really on some conversations with Lou, we go back and forth on how the program's working. And the one thing that I had felt that a lot of the GMA participants weren't really taking advantage of one of the key reports that we produce and export directly to everyone's inbox. I just feel that a lot of the GMA constituents just aren't utilizing it so they completely understand the program. It's my goal today, and when I set everyone up, to make sure that they have the tools that they need in case they're ever asked, how is Penn Credit doing for us? What kind of numbers are you looking at? That you can just go to this one report, pull it up. It's called the Payment Analysis Report, and on an at-a-glance basis, you have complete command of how we are doing for you, how the program's rolling out in general, and we're going to go over that report today in depth. So we'll discuss it a little bit more at that point in time. But what we want to cover today is how I can securely send my accounts to Penn Credit, and when the best opportunities, the best timing for that. We're going to look at some payment options. We're going to look at the client access features. So that'll be key. And then the reports and email communication. That's those are really the key pieces of this thing. And then we put up a couple of frequently asked questions that we get. And again, so we'll open up the microphones then and do a little Q&A there. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, feel free. If you want to reach out to me either by phone or by email, that's fine as well. So we'll go ahead and get started on the first topic. Regarding placing accounts, this is the big question. How often should I send accounts to Penn Credit? Really, typically we like to see accounts come over either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. That's usually when they come over. The big key here is the second point. Try to develop a regular pattern to ensure consistent recoveries. If you have a process in place, then it will be adhered to. If you don't really have a process set up for this, it can drop through the cracks. And I've seen this with some of the GMA participants. We'll get a first file, and then we won't get a file for months and months later. If you're not working the accounts internally, those accounts are just aging, becoming harder and harder to collect. So the big thing is to establish a process internally that's going to be regular, that'll be consistent, and those accounts will come over. Again, if you're not working them internally, if you're working them internally, then that's a whole different story. But what I found is, most participants, they just really don't have the time to do anything with them. So the sooner you get them out, the better. We always like to say, place early and often. That's the mantra around here. The third little piece there, accounts placed early in the delinquency cycle yield higher collections. This is a irrefutable fact. The second thing, when we do the setup, we cover this as well. What data fields should I provide? The vast number of the GMA participants are sending over a spreadsheet. Their systems usually export data to a spreadsheet, and we like to see the name, the address, phone number, an account number, your account number. It's key to have your account number on there, so when you want to look up an account on our system, we'll go over this a little bit later in the program, that you'll be able to do that. The accurate balance, data service, that's critical. The service address if it's a utility account, and if available, social security number. Social security number is key, and it's a unique identifier. It really helps us in our skip tracing methodology, and if we ever want to do credit reporting, which is an option that you all have, you can turn that on with us, but the account's social security number needs to be in there. Okay. The most popular way lately to send accounts over is through our secure file uploader. Typically, when I'm done with doing a setup with a GMA participant, I go ahead and just email them these instructions. So far, everybody's been able to use this pretty well. I don't really need to read the whole thing, and again, it'll be out there for you, and I can email this to you, during the setup, or if you want to move to this format, if you've been on for a while. I can't remember when we actually introduced this. It was probably 6 months ago, in that ballpark. So I know some of you have been on before that, before we had the uploader, so it is available now. It is a completely encrypted way to get your accounts to us. And the nice thing about it is it sends you an acknowledgement email that the file was sent, and it sends us an alert email as well, letting us know that the file is out there ready to be picked up. It will also ask you to put some key information in, like your client number, the entity name, email address, that type of thing, and that'll better
send this message, press pound or hang up. To review, press 1. To re-record, press 2.
You can go ahead and go to the next page. Okay. This little piece we just put together so you understand how we take payments here, from the GMA customers. We do check or money order, credit cards, the Visa, MasterCard, Discover. We do Western Union and MoneyGram. And check by phone, very popular feature. We generally talk about this during the setup. That's an ACH transaction between the debtor and ourselves, set up usually around some type of pay event. Completely authorized by them. Go. We have a 24/7 online payment portal, which is being utilized more and more, month over month. We're just seeing more people really take advantage of this. And then with today's social media explosion, this is definitely becoming more popular. And they have a couple of options when they go on the online payment portal to how they want to remit funds. And if there is a settlement authority, they can even look at that on the website as well.
Yeah.
And that's something we discussed during the setup, if you want to do settlements or not. If you want any specific information on that, I can talk to you about that offline. Mm-hmm. The next piece, we want to just kind of walk you through our online client remote access. If you would like to have remote access, all you need to do is let your client service representative, Dawn Dean, just let her know that you would like access to our system, and she will get and then provide to you the username, passwords, so you can jump on here. It's pretty intuitive the way the system works, and it's designed that you can take a look at accounts. Instead of you coming here to Penn Credit and looking at accounts here on our system, you can pull an account up right from your desk. If you have a customer that comes in and needs specific information about their account, you want to see it on our system to just double check what the balance is, or any payment history, letter history, phone call history. It's all on there. So we're going to run through just a little demo. We have a couple of accounts queued up. We're going to sort of show you how that works. And again, if you have any questions on that later, we can discuss it. But this is a tool that's being utilized more and more. So this is important, and the online reporting is something we'll go as soon as we're done with this little demo.
Okay.
And Kyle's going to take this over.
Yeah. All right. My name's Kyle Donner again. For those who didn't hear me earlier on the phone, I'm the operations manager here at Penn Credit. We're just going to go through a demo. We have 3 sample accounts we can look at on our online client account access portal. Basically, to get to it, you would just pull up your web browser. Here's Google, for example, and you can just visit our website, penncredit.com. And if you go to our home page, there's a link right up here. Your debtors or consumers, they could pay their bill here, but you want to go to client access right here, and it'll take you to our secure client access portal. You click here to log in. It is certified by DigiCert, secure encryption, SSL encryption, and basically everyone you would enter your account number with us, and there's a password that's assigned. If you're not set up for this and would like to, you can definitely get with Bruce Hauer after the call, and we can get you set up. But anyways, it's just simple. You enter your client number, password, click submit, and it comes up to a lookup menu. And all you need is an account number, and you can pull up the details of that account on our collection system. And again, this would be your account number, not Penn Credit's internal account number. So we're going to look at 3 accounts real quick. The first one here is just going to be a generic account. Then we're going to look at an account that has a bankruptcy on it, and then we're going to look at an account that actually has a payment on it. But anyways, this again would be your client name. Here we have test client, and then global client number is there. And I'm just going to scroll down, and again, I don't want to go through all the fields. You can just kind of look at it. If you're currently set up for this, you'll know exactly what this is. If you're not, again, you can get with Bruce Hauer after the call, and we can get you set up on that. Basically, it's broken into sections. We have our debtor information. Most of this will be what you provided us, and then a lot of it will be generated on our end. We have some basic items here, such as Number of attempts would be the number of phone attempts that we've made, and out of those attempts, the number of contacts. That would be here, for example. So you can kind of see if we set up a promise yet on the account. How much is that for? First time we've contacted it, the last time we've contacted it. Some specific detail about the account. We have some accounting information over here. This is where you would see if we've received any payments on it. I'll show you an example of what that would look like shortly. We have our status. It's very important. You can see that it's active. The number of letters we've sent on the account, the last date we've sent a letter. Basically, all the information that our collection system captures about your account as we're working it through the life cycle of the account with Penn Credit, we give you access to on an account-by-account basis. And then after we look at these individual accounts, we're going to show you a tool that's built into the website here that will actually let you export this information into an Excel, or so it's actually a CSV file that you can open in Microsoft Excel, and that'll let you basically look at all of your accounts in Excel, and you can massage them there and kind of extrapolate the information you're looking to find. And then we have the remarks section, the contacts section. Contacts would be internally with us in our collection efforts. The remarks would be any items that a collector would have manually typed in, or customer service support personnel could have noted the account. Basically any sort of text that is placed on the account by a person throughout the collection cycle. Payments are blank, there aren't any payments in this account. And then transactions, just basically we sent a letter and there's been a status change. So this is the first account. Not much has happened on this account. We're going to look at another one here. I would just click search again. And again, I'm going to punch in your account number. For example, this one is 2222, not our internal account number. And again, similar information. This one, for example, is a little bit different. It's BKR, which means it's bankrupt status. The same as the one we just kind of looked at, except this bankruptcy information field is now populated. We went out and skip traced the account, or we were notified via mail from the court system that this account has been part of a bankruptcy filing. And that information is there available for you to pull. And we'll look at one more account real quick, just to see what one looks like that has a payment, so we can see some payment activity on an account. Click Submit. Again, basic demographic items, some basic contact history for the account. And then, for example, here, we actually have that this gentleman made a payment. There's nothing due. And then we actually have the payment date there. So if a consumer or constituent walks into your office, says, I paid Penn Credit a week ago or a few days ago, you can quickly and easily go to our website, log into the account, and you can verify that on the spot. If they're looking to, maybe it's a water bill and they're looking to reactivate their service, or trash pickup or recycling, whatever that may be. This gives you a real-time tool to see exactly what is Penn Credit showing on their system for my account. Remarks, contacts, and then this payment block here has been populated because there's some payment history. Again, there's the agency payment. That means the debtor would have paid us. Then there's a status change that went from new to PIF, paid in full. So that's that. Again, this is an account-by-account view of the activity that happened. The reverse of that is I can go ahead and create CSV files, and I can contain active accounts, meaning any canceled or purged or bankrupt, or they're in jail, they're deceased. Those accounts are not presented, or I can just say, give me all the accounts that I've ever sent to Penn Credit under this client number, and I want to go through and play with that data on my own. I would just highlight that bubble, click Submit. It says it's going to take 5 minutes. That's not true. It's going to take a few seconds. I click the little folder. It's going to ask me if I want to save it. I can save it, of course. I just want to open it, and it's going to open it right into Microsoft Excel. And here I'm able to view a lot of the data that I saw on the account-by-account view, except now I'm in Excel, and here are the three accounts I already looked up, 1111, 2222, and 3333. And then I can just scroll across, and I have all of the fields, or some of the fields, the placement date, the service date, the amount. Here's where I can have some payment history. Here's our account that paid $750. Our current balance is 0, and this is a very important column here, this column M. I can see the status of the accounts, paid, bankrupt, and active. So if I want to see really quickly, what are the active accounts I currently have with Penn Credit, I can run this report. What accounts is Penn Credit not working that maybe I need to update my system? Maybe they have new information, maybe a bankruptcy or an attorney is representing the consumer or the debtor, and those items, then I can find those, and I can go back and pull up those items maybe one by one on the single account view and get that additional detail. Any sort of payment arrangements, Social Security number, here's some demographic information in case Penn Credit, or in case we got maybe a new address or a phone number, a home phone, employer name. And then here I can just get some basic activity on the account. How many letters has Penn Credit sent on the accounts? How many times have they tried to call the consumer? And how many actual contacts have they made? So columns A through Z are populated here. And again, this is the big picture view of all the accounts for the client number. And then once I export all this, then I can go ahead and I can strip out the accounts that I don't want to look at and really focus in on what I'm looking for at this point in time. And you can, this is live data. This is the most recent version. It's pulling it live. It's not 3 days ago. It's right off our collection system, the most up-to-date information. You can run this at any time, 24 hours a day. So those are the web tools that are available to you, the client. Again, the debtors, the consumers, they have their own online access where they can get in and view their account. And like Bruce mentioned earlier, they can make some self-service payment options. But this is for our clients. And that's it. I can just, once I'm finished, I log out and I come back to here. So let's get back to the presentation and get back in this slide. And these are the screenshots of what we just looked at. And I'm going to turn it back to Bruce, and he's going to talk about the reports that we send on a regular basis via email.
Thank you, Kyle. The real key, the real reason I wanted to have this was this piece right here. Just to make sure that people are getting their reports, because they come from this e-report site. You need to make sure that your email administrator knows that these are coming, and because the second piece says occasionally these reports can be blocked. The payment analysis report comes generally between the 5th and the 15th of each month, and it's emailed directly to you. The acknowledgement report, that's the report that gets generated anytime we receive new business from a GMA client. Then that report goes out generally 1 to 3 days after the placement, and we have a little sample that we'll show you here in a minute. But the big thing is these reports can get blocked, so you need that the e-report's email address. You need to make sure that your email administrator has that, can authenticate that, and make sure that they keep that open and that reports don't get caught in your spam filter, in your internal spam filter. The key with that is if it gets caught in your filter, it doesn't bounce back to us, so we do not know that it has not been delivered to you. So we're thinking everything's fine on our end, but a lot of times I'll hear from a client, well, I haven't gotten your reports for the last 3 months. 99.9% of the time it's because the spam filters are grabbing it. So you need to make sure that that's always something. If you don't see that payment analysis there by the 15th of the month, you need to be snooping around to figure out what's going on there. If your guys put in a new piece of hardware that has some spam blocking software built into it or what have you, they need to always be proactively looking for something that could cause these reports not to get to you. Penn Credit's secure email service. Just want to talk to you a little bit about that. If you do transmit anything to us with sensitive, debtor information, we definitely need to have that come through in a secure email just to protect yourself. You don't want unsecured data, personal data going through the internet. If you want to report a payment and you want to not use secure email, if you just put the account number and the payment amount to your client service rep and let them know that someone walked in and made a payment there, that's fine. But if you include that person's name or their address, something that could identify them, I would I would definitely use either secure email if you have it. If you don't, you can ask your representative, Dawn Dean. She can send you a blank secure email from Penn Credit, and then you can just keep that in your Penn Credit folder, pull it out anytime you need it, put anything in there. Yeah, just hit the reply button. It'll automatically, you'll see the word secure in the subject line in parentheses. As long as you see that, it'll come through the cloud completely secure through our encryption services. So that's just another thing, just to kind of keep in the back of your mind about sensitive data. You know, unfortunately we're in that age where we've got to protect ourselves. And here's a sample of the acknowledgement report. So when you send a new business file, I didn't mention this earlier, but some of the GMA constituents place on paper, and that's fine. You know, they'll bundle up accounts, put them in the United States Postal Service, put their client number on them, send them to us. Some send spreadsheets, some send complex data files. Whatever you guys can do is fine. We can write conversion software to handle accounts in really any method. Once those accounts get here, and depending on how long it takes them to get in the system, if it's electronic file format, they'll generally go in that same day. But if they're paper, we have to have a data entry clerk organize that material, put it in the system, convert it, that type of thing. And once you get your acknowledgement report, then it'll have the report date, your client number, the client name, and it'll have the number of accounts and the total dollars. So you want to take a quick look at that and make sure that that does coincide with what you sent. If you see a discrepancy there, you definitely want to get on the phone to your dedicated client service representative. Hey, Dawn, I noticed the last acknowledgement wasn't exactly what we sent. We want to make sure, just in case there's some kind of an issue, we can resolve it then, before letters go out or there's a problem. And we generally cover that during the setup meetings, that we have as well. Now here's the payment analysis summary report. This is the report I spoke of earlier. We have a couple different shots of this same report, and we'll go over just kind of briefly in detail what the columns mean. But this report is so helpful from knowing what and how your portfolio is going along here at Penn Credit Corporation. Really what it does, it gives you the date you placed accounts, and that's typically like a monthly batch, the number of accounts that were placed in that month's business, the amount of dollars that were referred is the next column, and then we have two collection columns, and we'll talk about these in the next slide, the placement column and the monthly column. So let's go ahead and roll to that. The placement column is the amount of dollars that were just collected against the referred amount. Okay, so that's like think of it like a bucket. That money is just coming out of the bucket on the left. Okay? Then the next column, the monthly column, is what we collected for any placement for the month. So when the month ends, when that particular month that's on the far left, when that month closes, that number stays fixed. But the placement column, theoretically, that number will grow as money drops into that bucket each month. And hence the liquidation percentage on the far right will increase each month as money is dropped into that bucket. But that monthly number will stay fixed. So that's your cash number. That should roughly coincide with the remittance statement. Some of these columns off to the right, the CRQ just means that the client requested that account to be closed. Or, good. Just jump to that. There we go. The amount referred column, liquidation rate, the way to, we figure the liquidation percentage is the amount referred minus any canceled account. Now, that could be, accounts that were canceled due to time or were closed, at the client's office, bankruptcy, deceased. There's some columns that don't show up on here, but that's how you figure your liquidation rate. And that gives you an overall view of how we're doing on the accounts. You can look at month by month to see if liquidation rates are in line, and we always discuss that also once we get into the program. You'll watch this, the file will actually liquidate, in an ascending manner. You'll see the numbers just grow and grow as time goes on. A lot of accounts get set up on partial payments, that type of thing, so that will make those numbers roll out, and you'll see numbers. We continually work the accounts that are in the system, so even the older accounts, you'll see money drop into those buckets. But this is a very critical report that you just kind of become familiar with, and all you have to do is just store that report. You can, little electronic, your pen credit folder, you can just pop it in there. It gives you an overview of the program, and if anyone ever questions you or you need to know how we're doing for you, it's at a glance you can see, and it's easy to spot placement trends, collection trends, liquidation trends with this report as well.
If they have any questions.
Yeah, any questions at all, if you get this and you can reach out to your dedicated client service representative, or please feel free to reach out to me. I can pull this very similar data. We can go over it, and we can look at numbers, trends, expectations, that type of thing. And we're going to kind of open things up a little bit now. We just wanted to throw out some frequently asked questions, some things that we get, and if you guys have anything, we'd be happy to talk to you about them. But basically, the big thing is, why should Penn Credit be notified of payments received directly at your office? I mean, it's critical for us to operate within the laws. We need to accurately update the account balance. We need to stop the dunning process. That's the biggest thing we need to do. We need to just shut the letters and phone calls off once an account's been paid in full. Last thing we want is for someone to get a letter. That's could cause complaints, confusion, that type of thing. So by reporting those, that'll avoid that. Another frequently asked questions is, can my accounts be reported to the credit bureau? And they can. I mean, if the debt qualifies, typically the majority of the accounts that GMA constituents are placing are utility type accounts, which are the credit bureaus have no problems with. Accounts they don't like are like parking tickets, things where it's hard to really identify the operator of the vehicle, things like that. But utility accounts, they no problems there. Definitely need to have a Social Security number. Balance has to be $50 or greater to qualify. And even if you want your accounts to go to the credit bureau, if an account comes through without a social, our system will just skip over that account, so you don't have to worry about an account going to the credit bureaus without a Social Security number. So at this point in time, I think we'll open the mics up and see how the audio goes, and if you guys have any questions, we'll go ahead from there.